The meaning of the Hebrew word Kabbalah is receiving, indicating received tradition, and indeed historically the term referred to all Judaism's oral tradition, such as the words of the ancient prophets of the Bible. Over time, many of the teachings were recorded and became available to all. The esoteric teachings, though, remained something that was passed on from rabbi to student. This occurred due to the relative interpretive freedom taken by the Kabbalah scholars and the heresies they might lead to. That said, the teachings of the Kabbalah remain something that is restricted to a selected few. The first records of Jewish mysticism or mystical doctrines is during the Talmudic era in the 1st century in the land of Israel. During the 12th century it appeared in Spain and south of France, and during the 16th century it thrived in the Galilee. In our days, even the esoteric teachings have become available, but the name remained. The Jewish Kabbalah is an attempt to explain and to understand the relationship between an undefined eternal source known as the Ein Sof, the one that has no end, and our finite universe and materialistic reality, his creation. Kabbalah seeks to understand the nature of the universe and its relationship with us, humans. It also tries to find the purpose of existence and reveals esoteric methods and systems that are intended to lead to unity between the human being and the divine cosmic eternal source. These principles found a way to many of my Kabbalah jewelry designs. Although many refer to these jewels as amulets, most of these designs symbolize these philosophical ideas that can be found not only in the Jewish Kabbalah but also in early Greek philosophy and in the Asian Taoism. One of the things that always fascinated me was the equivalence between the revealed name of God in Judaism, the Tetragrammaton, the name with the 4 letters Yud Hey Vav Hey, and the Tetractys of Pythagoras. The Tetragrammaton incorporates the abstract idea that God is space-time itself, existence and consciousness. The explanation of this is that these 4 letters in Hebrew create the word Havaya, being or to be, and also contain the Hebrew word Haya, Hoveh and Ihyeh, meaning was, is and will be. In the book of Exodus, during the revelation of the burning bush, Moses asks for the name of God and receives a rather abstract and surprising answer, in comparison to a time when most of the world was involved in pagan rituals. I will be what I will be, something that is existence itself, devoid of any description or definition. Since these names are actually the secret of existence and creation, they became sacred. And so the Tetragrammaton and the other variations of the Hebrew names or definitions of God were used in many ancient amulets for healing and protection. For example, the magic square ring and pendant. The magic square is a square table in which the letters in each row and column add up to the same numerical value. In Hebrew, each letter also has a numerical value. The numerical value of each column and row in the magic square ring is 15, which is equivalent to the sum of the letters Yud Hey, one of the Hebrew names of God. A fascinating example of the relationship between early Greek philosophy and the Kabbalah can be found in the symbol of the Tetractys and in the teachings of Pythagoras. The Tetractys of Pythagoras is a triangle. It has 4 lines that contain 10 points. This symbol is the basis for all the mathematics, geometry and the laws of the universe. If we take the Tetragrammaton and place its letters on the Tetractys and add up its numerical value, we will receive the number 72 that appears in the ancient sources of the Kabbalah as the 72 names or the 72 sacred names of God. According to ancient traditions, if we take the central verses in the book of Exodus 14, which is the center of the 5 books of the Torah, and divide them in a certain way, we will receive 72 combinations of 3 letters, or a name of 216 letters. According to the Kabbalah tradition, these combinations are the name or the formula, among other things, by which the world was created. The source of the formula is unknown. The manner to be used had also been lost over the years. These combinations of letters appear in ancient Jewish amulets. The silver or gold tablet of the 72 names is intended for carrying, and many use it as an amulet for protection, healing, and success. The search for the ultimate equation or formula that is present in the entire universe has always fascinated mathematicians and physicists. Another example is the 42 names that can be found in the Ana Bekoach prayer. This prayer was written in the 1st century by Rabbi Nechoniah ben Hakana. It composed of 7 lines with 6 words in each line. The first letter of every word is taken, thereby creating the 42-letter name. The combination of the Ana Bekoach is hidden in the first 42 letters of the book of Genesis, from the Hebrew word Bereshit to the word Vavo. The letters are used with a secret calculation. The Ana Bekoach prayer can be found in the Shacharit, Mincha, and in the Shabbat prayer before Lecha Dodi. Today, Ana Bekoach is somewhat ignored, and in many prayers it is no longer used. The Ana Bekoach prayer is greatly valued by spiritual and Kabbalah followers. The 42 letters name, along with the 12 letters name, were mentioned in the Talmud, and their secret was lost after the destruction of the temple 2000 years ago. It was said that these names were actually definitions as well as other aspects of the eternal source of creation, the Ein Sof who dwells in unity. The oversoul pendant is another way for using names and letters as an amulet. This pendant is personal and unique. The pendant itself is a small gold or silver container. On top of it appears the Hebrew phrase Nishmat Kol Chai, meaning the soul of all beings. This is the opening of the Nishmat Kol Chai prayer, an ancient 2000-year-old Jewish ode that hails the one and only God, the source of all life. One of the secrets or claims of the Kabbalah teachings is that one of the Hebrew names of God in the Torah, Elohim, is used in its plural form in the 1st chapter of Genesis, because all of creation and all living things are nothing but the reflection of the infinite source of creation, the Ein Sof, God. Inside the container there is a small plate with the name of the bearer of the pendant inscribed in Hebrew letters, genuine Hebrew Assyrian fonts, the letters of the Torah. The name itself is merged with the Hebrew letters of the word for soul, Neshama. These letters represent the superior soul, or the Creator himself, who protects the bearer of the pendant. The Nishmat Kol Chai prayer is considered an ancient talisman for protection and salvation, and is mentioned in the writings of the Tanaim. The idea that I am most fond of regarding this pendant is inscribing the name of the bearer, an individual entity, and fusing this individual entity with a collective soul in order for one to achieve unity, balance, and fulfill his or her destiny. In this next design, you will be able to see the significance of the Hebrew Assyrian letters and their hidden meaning in the Kabbalah. This is the God's Word pendant. There is a ring around the pendant on which the word Bereshit, Genesis, is engraved. The word is divided into 2 parts, so that it creates a sentence in ancient Aramaic, Barashit, created 6. This refers to the projection within the empty space to each of the 6 directions, to create the familiar 3D space. Thus, the source of creation, the one that is known in the Kabbalah as the Ein Sof, the one that has no end, created time and space. On one side of the pendant appears the Hebrew word Vayomer, and God said, which represents the idea that creation itself was made by the use of a divine thought, being transmuted to the Hebrew alphabet and to words. This idea can be found hidden on the other side of the pendant, where there is the Hebrew letter Pei, whose literal translation is the word mouth. It appears on the pendant in the same Assyrian Hebrew alphabet that's been used to write the Torah. The interesting thing in the way it is written is that the missing part inside the letter Pei creates another Hebrew letter, the letter Bet, the second letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and the first letter of the Torah, and the word Bereshit, Genesis. The letter Bet literally means house or structure, So the infinite, the one source of creation, created the finite materialistic universe with these secret letters by a thought and a word, a vibration. Near the outer ring you can also see the 22 letters of the ancient Hebrew alphabet, the Phoenician letters. The concept of the use of words in sacred letters became also a major part of the practical Kabbalah. When you examine the philosophical ideas of the Jewish mysticism, especially during the Talmudic era of the 1st century, you would be surprised at the advanced ideas and the way of thinking that is outside religious doctrines. Nowadays, despite the availability of the early teachings to the public, the name Kabbalah is most of the time separated from its original source. And that is the reason that I've placed and used many of these ideas that surfaced 2000 years ago in my jewels.